Emily stood before the counter. She had already gathered her tools: a vial of viscous, amber-colored estrogen, a hypodermic needle, and a square of cotton soaked in alcohol. The scent of the alcohol wipe, cool and clinical on her belly, was the familiar preface to her rebirth, a smell more grounding than any perfume. This was the ritual of affirmation, the small, weekly ceremony that affirmed her right to exist, a sacred rite performed in the most ordinary of settings. She prepared the syringe with the quiet, focused precision of a chemist, drawing the thick fluid from the vial. 6 years. 6 years since she chose this path, this second puberty at 18, when the agonizing divergence between body and soul finally became too much to bear. That choice had been an act of radical self-love, a commitment to healing a wound she hadn't caused but had to fix. She tracked the slow, steady progress of the needle as it pierced the thin skin of her lower abdomen. A tiny, sharp pinch, a moment of discomfort she welcomed, for it meant her body was still listening, still collaborating. She pressed the sterile cotton ball against the spot, holding it there, reflecting on the changes that felt less like alteration and more like restoration. There was the subtle fullness of her chest, the small, sensitive buds that were hers and hers alone, a physical manifestation of her truth. Her skin had softened, losing the coarse texture of her first unwanted adolescence, becoming velvet and fine. And the gradual, undeniable shift in her hips, a slow, gentle redistribution that had subtly altered her center of gravity and the way she moved. Each change wasn't just physical. It felt like her body finally aligning itself with the soul she had always known. She remembered the day she first felt comfortable in a simple cotton shirt, realizing her silhouette was finally wonderfully her own. The gratitude for these subtle miracles was immense, a heavy, warm comfort that counteracted years of pain. But the world, she knew, did not always recognize miracles. The physical affirmation of the injection contrasted sharply with a memory, a trauma that made her hand tremble slightly on the cotton ball. It was a recent memory. A man from a dating app named Steve met just 3 months ago. The cafe had been loud, but his voice, when he leaned in, had been slick with veiled, intrusive curiosity. "So, how long have you been on the stuff? Do you have the full set?" His eyes hadn't been focused on her face or the curve of her smile. They had been performing a clinical scan, an inventory of her transition. The word stuff, delivered with a conspiratorial smirk, had stolen the air from the room, making her feel dirty and exposed. She had to swallow the sudden metallic taste of panic. He hadn't been interested in Emily. He had been interested in her history, her medical file, the boundaries of his own perverse curiosity. The question had been delivered with a predatory quality that stripped away every element of romance and intimacy. She was not a science experiment. She was not a checklist of surgical procedures. She was just Emily, a human being seeking connection. That moment had taught her that even physical alignment could be rendered meaningless by the invasive gaze of others. She held the cotton ball tighter, exhaling a slow, deliberate breath, releasing the toxic echo of Steve's voice. She hoped this new man, Mark, whose profile had been normal and whose texts had been kind, understood that. She hoped he would simply see the woman standing before him, a woman whose body was finally hers, a woman who deserved an ordinary night.
If you love this video, give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next, and smash the hype button to help my channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the next video. You can jump to it right here.